Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends. I'm Donna.
I'm Paula, and today we have Maria Shiel. How you doing?
Hiya, guys. How's it going?
We're doing good. Well, I'm doing good. I can't speak for her. I don't know. Sorry.
Great. It's Monday.
Talk for both of us. So, tell us, who is Maria? Tell us all about you.
Jumping right in. So I am based in the west of Ireland, singer-songwriter, and I have been writing and making music for probably the guts of, oh, my door is back in there, the guts of, well, you know, 20 years really, I suppose, and worked with different types of music, you know, different genres. I have my own online record label, and through that have worked kind of within the electronica spectrum. Yep. And so recently I've kind of gone back to traditional songwriting with my guitar, and have just strangely released my first album, which is technically what they call a debut, I believe, but it's a country kind of Americana album, really. Yeah. So and there's lots of reasons behind that, so which is why I'm kind of here with you guys, really, you know. Yeah,
and we're glad you're here.
Yes,
glad to be here.
So, being in Ireland, the country music scene is probably a lot more natural than it is in certain countries.
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. It's I mean, there has always been a big country music scene in Ireland, you know. It hasn't necessarily always been to everybody's cup of tea, you know, the younger generations or anything, but it nevertheless it has its own scene, you know, and I think it's a large part of that is because where Ireland is situated in Europe, I think generally speaking, musically, culturally, even perhaps, it's always leaned a bit more towards America rather than England, really. So, you know, I think that's why the country kind of thing is way stronger here than it would be in England, you know. I think it takes a lot from American influences, the Irish traveling to America for eons, really, you know, as well. So, yeah.
Do you think historically, like, you know, like ballads are more in Ireland and stuff like that, and a lot of them kind of migrated to the US, if you will. Do you think that's kind of part of the integration, if you will, of that?
Yeah, the two musics. Well, sure. I mean, I well, you know, I think this is one of the reasons I kind of got to, you know, to the point of really wanting to make this kind of album, apart from the fact of growing up with, you know, Irish parents that just were really into country, you know, and we'd listen to a lot of old country. Dad would, you know, tell us stories, and my grandparents, and, you know, obviously tell us stories about their relations coming and going to America. And I think historically, if you go back and look back on the structure of the song, really, you know, and if you look at the country song in general, you'll hear kind of a lot of the same structures, really, in old Irish ballads or Scottish ballads, you know. So I think country music, maybe, as people might know it in America, I think has largely evolved from the Irish and Scots and Celts going to the States, really, you know, and somehow those songs have mixed, and you know, I think there's you know, verse, chorus, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I think there's an interesting connection there.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
music.
When you hear some of the older countries, you know, they're like those ballads. And there's one ballad, I don't remember the name of it, but it started in, I think it was Ireland, and it came to the US, and it was really the way of, I guess, telling news. And that's kind of how it started. And it was so interesting to kind of read that little, I don't remember where I read this blurb on, you know, music. And I was just like, that was so cool to see. And
yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a fantastic story, and trying to think of the song. It's one of those real famous old country songs. It's the one. There's a lot of kind of murder ballads, you know, in those old country songs. You know, a lot of those. Knoxville Girl, maybe. I think it might be the Knoxville Girl or one of those songs. Yeah. There's a very strong story behind it. And funny thing is, it was based on, yes, exactly what you say, news telling the news of the day, but these gory news stories. So back in the day in England, particularly as well, where you know, people would be hung, drawn and quartered, you know, on the corner of the crossroads and things like that. So there would be songwriters that would go and they'd tell the story of the hanging, you know, in song and verse, and actually write it out. And then they'd move to the next town where the next hanging would be, and they'd literally just change the words around to suit the person that was being hung, really. And they think this is how the involvement of, I don't know if it's the Knoxville Girl, but it's one of those sorts of ballads, you know, how it's evolved. Wish I could think of the name now, but you know, and it became the song that was sung apparently like when Dolly Parton was growing up, because I listened to, you know, I was listening to a podcast there recently, and she was talking about it, that her mother used to sing those kind of songs growing up. And of course Parton, you know, if you think about the surname Parton, it's a very Scottish sounding surname, you know, Scots English or whatever. So it's so interesting. I think the whole thing is so interesting, you know. Yes.
Well, country music is a very sad genre at times. You know, when they do a sad song, they know how to bring an audience to tears. When they, you know, when they really put out a sad song. So yeah, country music is definitely tells stories of, you know, many different things. So yes, storytelling, isn't it, really? At its best. Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so anyway, that was from, what question did you ask there? That was about the news, isn't it? Telling the news, really, way of telling the news back in the day. Yeah.
That's a great way of telling the news. I think you should do the news like that now. It would be so much more fun.
And of course, the Irish would travel, or, you know, Scots, whoever would travel to the States, you know, from 1700s on, and, you know, they would bring their instruments with them, and of course they would bring their songs with them, you know, as a way of feeling close to their own countries, you know. And I mean, you know, a lot of those families that moved, that couldn't afford, you know, chunks of big, you know, swathes of plains of nice land in the middle of America, you know, they'd be gone up to the mountains and stuff, to the poorer land, you know, and it's where you know, get a lot of the involvement of bluegrass music and country from them, you know, and then singing and dancing. And I mean, it's fascinating, really. So yeah, I wanted to make an album kind of sort of trying to tap into that a bit, really, with my own relations that would have travelled over to America, you know. A lot of both of my parents' families went to the States.
So you said your parents listened to country music when you were younger. What sort of artists did they listen to?
Well, Dad, you know, one of my first gigs, believe it or not, was Johnny Cash. Like he brought us to Johnny Cash when we were really small kids. When you know, oh, look at that. Who's that?
He won't settle. He's wandering around. So I had to pick him up. Calm down.
Oh, yeah. So, you know, Johnny Cash, the Carter family. You know, he loved Hank Williams. He loved a lot of the old classics like, you know, well, obviously we had loads of Dolly in the house, Marty Robbins, you know, Don Williams, some Willie Nelson, some Merle Haggard, who was the other one? Tex Ritter, you know. So a lot of those old classics, you know, the gunfighter ballads, you know, that pink album cover, you know. So, yeah, he liked crooners, and he'd make tapes, cassette tapes, and then when we'd go on holidays in the car, he'd play them, you know. So this is so this was about, you know, and then, you know, there would be songs, but I'm not sure. Now my brother would kill me because he's a real aficionado, you know, he's a vinyl collector. But there'd be songs, you know, like there's a pawn shop on the corner in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know, these sorts of random songs, but I'd never know who would sing them, you know, and they'd be on the tapes. And Saginaw, Michigan, and, you know, and these, you know, so he put them on with Irish music then, you know, with some real cool trad bands of the day, and so the mixture would already be there, sort of evolving as your kids, you know, so you got the country artists and then you got the Irish sort of roots music, you know, so it's so when you think about it, it's all about the roots, isn't it?
Yeah.
Roots music, really.
It's all the same sort of thing. I mean, you talk about Don Williams and Marty Robbins. My mum liked them, and my grandmother liked them, and my aunt all have that sort of, you know, albums and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's really of its time, of those generations and that, you know.
Yeah.
They liked. Do you know what it was? They really liked melody and good song and good, you know, kind of pop songs, actually, in a way. A good, you know, you can get some good country songs that are good pop songs, really, like a well-written, really hooky, good melodies, you know. So, you know, we had loads and loads of, like, Buddy Holly, Bobby V, Elvis, Ricky Nelson, Gene Pitney, you know, Mama Cass. We had all of these 60s pop icons as well that he also took us to see in concert as kids, believe it or not, you know. So pop was a big thing, you know, kind of good, you know, the good well-written song, you know, the Beatles, Carpenters, and that stuff, you know. Classic tunes.
There's a lot of country nowadays that has that crossover, isn't there? You know, there's a real fine line, I think, between a lot of the genres. So, you know, it's not always easy to pin something into a complete genre, because it can be a combination of, you know, quite a few different ones. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know about today's country much, you know. Like, I'm not really sure about it because I don't know enough about it. I mean, the stuff that I hear, that the kind of swaggery kind of stuff that's all slick and shiny and stuff, I'm not sure about. You know, I tend to go back in time. Although I really like some of the new artists coming through. Like, I really, when Casey Musgraves first came out, I really liked her. I really liked what she stood for, you know.
Yeah.
You know, singing about trailer parks, you know, smoking a doob, you know, loved her accent, loved her attitude, fantastic singer. I mean, her voice is just, I think, fantastic. You know, and then she won all those Grammys, which is great as well. But she has sort of crossed over a little bit. She's kind of going the Taylor Swift sort of way, I think, a little bit, you know, the pop kind of way. But there's a couple of other ones out there, you know, like I've just come across Nikki Lane recently. She's just fantastic, you know. She's supposed to be this new outlaw kind of version, you know, female version of outlaw, you know. So, you know, yeah, it's interesting.
It's being able to find it. I think when you're away from the States, it's harder to find sort of new acts and you know, what's going on in the country world sometimes. So
I think being in the States makes it so much easier in that aspect, because the more I learn of other countries and their access to the music, it's usually when there's either concerts or special things coming over with people that they learn of these new artists that are country that may have been out for years on our end, but never made their way on the air radio waves over there and things like that. So it's
it is difficult. So So have you ever been to C2C? And he said
blah 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 blah. What?
That's confusing. Have you ever been to country to country?
I know, and it's like I haven't, no, and because it's a massive thing that happens in Dublin, isn't it? Yeah.
I've been. I went every year for about 4 or 5 years, and then
did you?
Stopped because they kept repeating artists, which was a bit,
Okay. Does it only happen in Dublin? Is it a thing that just happens in Dublin?
Yeah, it's Dublin, in London, and Scotland. I think they were bringing a European country as well, because it was beginning to get that big. But it's a 3-day indoor festival. It's great fun. So you don't get wet, you don't get muddy, and you get amazing music. So
you see, I kind of only came across it in the last few years. You know what I mean? Because I kind of was doing other things, making other types of music, living elsewhere, living in Dublin actually for a large part of it. So even funnily enough, even though you're there on the doorstep, but it's so big, Dublin, and it's so, there's so much stuff going on anyway, and I was going down another path at the time. So I only came across it in the last few years, but there was a couple of artists on there. And I thought, damn, because I think Casey Musgraves came a couple of years on it, and
I think she has been,
there's always, I think even what's his name? The guy that sang that Buck Owens with Buck Owens. What's his name? 1,000 miles from nowhere. That one. Who's
Dwight Yoakam?
Yeah, Dwight Yoakam came a couple of times, I think, as well.
Yeah, he's been as well. Yeah.
So I was like, oh God, kind of missed it. But now, of course, nobody is seeing anything.
No, it's been cancelled again this year. I know that. I've seen that. So
there's nothing happening anywhere. So
it's a bit of a nightmare.
Same with the States. There's like no major festivals going on here or anything, and
I mean, what times we live in, really, isn't it? Wow, it's just
actually
very bizarre. Yeah. So,
it's all good fun. Okay. So, this is the fun part. I love this part. So this is our quick fire questions, okay? They're really, really easy. They're just questions so people get to know you as a person rather than you as the artist type thing.
Right.
So they're really, really... Don't be worried. Everybody's worried and they're like, the V's.
What's your darkest secret?
But we'll add that one.
Yeah, that's just for you.
Yeah, okay. Fire away, as they say.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, well, I think generally speaking, it would have to be night owl, I think. Although I can be pretty good in the day. If you get a good night's sleep and you're up and out, nothing better like that.
Yeah.
Fresh air. But there's nothing like being creative in the night time.
Yes, I'm probably more creative. My brain sort of works better at the night time. Beach or countryside?
Well, you see, we live on West of Ireland here. Beaches are to die for. The weather is Baltic, but the beaches are great. I love the ocean. I love the Atlantic Ocean. It's my favourite ocean. But Ireland is very green, very country. So it's really a split for me. Country and beach is a split. But I think I'd probably go beach. I'd go ocean.
Ocean, perfect. What's your favourite season?
I like winter, actually.
Like the snow, huh?
Yeah, I kind of like winter for... I love the sun, no question about it. And I'm hopefully going to live in it at some stage, on a more permanent basis. But I think if you get a good winter where it's icy cold and you can be tucked away inside and those bright sunny days, it can also be very conducive to writing.
Yeah.
You know, being creative.
So it has its good points and its bad points.
Yeah.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. My biggest fear. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, weirdly enough. I mean, my biggest fear. I don't know how to answer that question. Why don't I know how to answer that? I suppose because I have plenty of fears, really. Probably. You know, biggest is a big word, isn't it? I suppose
It is, yeah.
it's a big word.
Name a fear.
I don't want to say it. It begins with S and ends in spiders.
Okay. You get that then.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
but I'm trying to get really better at it. As you know, wow, when they move fast.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
What's your favourite holiday?
Summer.
Perfect.
Summer and being out in the hot evenings, late with your friends. It stays really bright over here in Ireland. In this part of west of Ireland, it's the lightest in Europe. It stays the latest.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes you don't get the sun. Sometimes it doesn't go dark till 11, right?
Yeah.
It can stay light till 11. And sometimes if you go out to Achill, it doesn't get dark at all. It just goes a dark blue and then gets light again.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
That would annoy me. I never sleep. What's your favourite drink?
I love water and IPA.
IPA? What's IPA?
IPA is like
the beer. Yeah.
a beer, yeah. And there are loads of them in America, and I love them. They're delicious.
Okay. There you go. I was a bit off key there for a minute. Left or right-handed?
Right.
Favourite animal?
Dog. Yeah.
Favorite color?
Blue.
If you could talk to anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and what would you want to talk about? I'm finding this is a tough question for people.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's good to get to thinking. I mean, you know, when you say dead or alive, I think people, well, I immediately think of dead, don't you? Because you think, well, they've gone, what would you say? You know, yeah. I mean, Leonard Cohen is probably, was probably my main influence lyrically, going way back to when I was a kid. I just loved the way he sang and the way he, you know, wrote lyrics. You know, they're very deep and meaningful. So I guess he'd be one person I'd like to sit with and have a brandy or something, you know. But I don't know what I talk to him about because he might feel a bit shy or something because he was so good, you know. But another person I tell you who I would love to go out for a beer with would be George Michael. And I really, really regret never seeing him live because, you know, from the pop side of things, I just really enjoyed his music, you know. I really enjoyed some of his tunes, you know. And he was quite a funny guy, apparently.
There we go. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Really.
What's one of your hobbies?
Painting.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. There we go.
Painting, doing drawing. I'm not doing enough of it at the moment, but I did it all for the album, the recent album. I painted all the artwork for it and then made up some prints, sent it out. So I do like that. Yeah.
If you could be a musical, what musical would you be?
Musicals. Well, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, is that musical? I don't know. Is that musical? What would I be? Musical? Calamity Jane. Whip crack away, whip crack away, whip crack away. flying over the plains in a stagecoach. Why not?
Yes, that's perfect. I love that one.
If you're a mythical creature, what creature would you be?
A phoenix, definitely rising from the ashes. Talk about the stuff I've had to overcome. Oh, yeah. So I've definitely risen out of the ashes a few times, I'd say. So yeah.
I like that. That's a good one.
If you were a Disney character, what character would you be?
Do you know what? I don't know if I know many Disney characters. Does Tom and Jerry count? Is that Disney?
They are Warner Bros, but that's fine.
Okay, well,
you can be one of Tom and Jerry.
I want to be Jerry the mouse, the little mouse, because he's always like pulling the whiskers of Tom, running around the place. He runs really fast, goes through little holes, and always makes silly little sounds, and he's cheeky.
And he always wins the fight. It always makes me
laugh. Always wins the fight, and you always hear the sound effects. Don't you? When he pulls the whisker. Like,
that's some sound effects to our show.
I know. There you
go. What's your favorite snack?
Ooh, favorite snack. I love a Kit Kat. I love a 2-bar Kit Kat that comes out of the fridge where you can go.
Yes.
Nice.
Love it. Love a Kit Kat.
Did you know? Now listen to this. If you on the fingers of a Kit Kat, if you bite off each end, you can pull it in your tea. You can suck your tea through it, and then you've got both when you eat the finger itself.
So you like this? So what you're basically saying is one can have a Kit Kat straw.
Yes.
One wants.
Yeah.
I have to try this now.
Yes.
Genius.
It's probably gonna be with coffee though.
Yeah.
Well, no, it might work with coffee, but
I like coffee.
The chocolate tastes different in America, I think. Do you get Kit Kats in America? Yeah.
Yes, and I think you're right. It does taste. A lot of times here they use a lot more corn syrup in their chocolate making, or more milks and things like that to make it more milky, versus the regular cocoa beans and the cacao beans and things like that. Yeah, big difference. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, because
they don't have Cadbury's.
Do they not have Cadbury's over there?
In the world.
No, Cadbury's, yeah, I mean. And also, a note for you, Paula, Cadbury's Spain, Cadbury's England, and Cadbury's Ireland, totally different. If you ever get to Ireland again, do Cadbury's Ireland, because I tell you what, you'll die and go to heaven. Having a Cadbury's chocolate bar in Ireland is the be all and end all.
Oh my God, I need to go there now. Actually, I've got a friend who lives in Ireland, so I'm gonna. Well, she lives in the Republic. But,
she must send you one. She must send you one.
I'm gonna talk to her. I need chocolate. I need Dublin chocolate. Yeah, that's cool.
So, if you could give us a song recommendation, one song that you would think that everyone has to listen to, what would it be?
Of all time, is it?
Not of all time. Of like one of those songs that like you have to listen to like before you die, type of thing.
Oh.
Like I would probably tell everyone to listen to Dolly Parton's "I Will Always Love You." Just
yeah, really. Oh yeah, she's fabulous, Dolly, isn't she? Well, look, I mean, it's cheesy. It's cheeseball as hell, what I'm going to say. But look, it is what it is. And I remember, when I was a nipper and I heard this song come out, I thought it was the best thing ever, and I could not stop dancing. And that was George Michael, right, with his song called Freedom. But not the second Freedom he did, but the first Freedom, I don't want your freedom. That one by Wham. Absolutely superb pop song. One of the best pop songs ever written, I think, in my opinion.
I love Wham.
Yeah, and if you blast that song loud, I will defy you not to tap your foot.
Oh, this is a challenge.
And the other one, actually, I've been listening to lately, which is really gets me moving as well, is Dua Lipa, Levitating. Such a great song. I don't know if you've heard it or if you know Dua Lipa, but she is smooth as hell the way she sings, and this song is almost a perfectly crafted pop song as well.
There we go. So there's two amazing songs that everybody needs to stop listening to.
I don't know, well, I kind of like them, but
I never know. We can get them, get people listening to them. That'd be cool. Okay, so your last question. I can't talk today. Seriously. Your last question. Who is your favourite CWC host?
What CW? This CWC?
Crazy Women Country, yeah. Host.
Oh, well. Jim. I know. No, I'm...
Third person.
Yeah, no, one mustn't answer that question. One must not answer that question. One must say you are both equally as good as each other. Yeah, no, sorry, I'm a diplomat. Can't.
That's cool. That's cool.
Thank you.
Donna's got a cat, and her cat has had more votes than any of us two on the show. He appears on a regular basis.
Right back.
Should get the cat.
You get the cat. Because he always turns up. Tigger always appears.
He's like, no, what are you doing? I was trying to eat.
What's the cat called?
This is Tigger.
Tigger.
Tigger is a love muffin. He likes to give cuddles. He's so gorgeous.
Oh, and what's your dog called? Tigger and...
My dog is called Bilbo.
Bilbo from Lord of the Rings?
Yes. Well, I never named him because, long story short, his owner passed away. I was looking after him and he just stayed. So they named him Bilbo and I wasn't going to change his name, but yeah.
Oh, lovely name.
He's cool. He's a gorgeous little dog. But yeah, I've got 3 and Dawn's got hundreds.
I don't have hundreds, only 6.
Oh, 6 cats.
They're all little.
No, 6 dogs.
You got 6 dogs?
Yes.
1 cat.
Wow.
They're about the size of the cat. They're little chihuahuas. So
Right.
they don't take up that much room. They take up like the size of one dog, you know.
1 Alsatian-sized dog, and you put them all in there. You see,
You know, like a big German Shepherd or big lab or something. Yeah, that's about it.
A lot of noise. 6 dogs.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
They do that pack howling thing where they all start howling. It's hysterical sometimes, but sometimes you're like, shh.
Yeah, it's funny.
That seems like a very chilled for me. I'd be like,
That'd be so funny. That'd be so funny.
What about what song do you think everyone has to listen to?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Either one of you. I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton. Yeah.
I think people should be listening to Mickey Guyton's sister.
Who?
Good one.
Mickey
Guyton. Her song Sister. I'm addicted to that song at the moment.
Okay, I'm going to look that one up. Yeah, don't know that song.
There's a lot of great songs.
Cool.
Yeah, she's done some amazing songs. So, yeah, people should be listening.
Great. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. So what does 2021 hold for you?
Wow. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it, really, where we're at the minute? Well, obviously the big thing was the Fire in the Sea album that I did last year, towards the end of the year, which is what I was saying at the beginning about the transatlantic Americana one. So, you know, I hadn't done any kind of music like that up until that point. So I made a limited edition sort of gatefold CD with art prints to send out. So sent it out as a little art package at the end of last year. But it's actually, funnily enough that we're talking, it's going to be officially released this coming Friday on all digital platforms, which is great. It would be great to get it out, into the world. And, I suppose with that, there's only so much you can do. Obviously, it would be great to be able to tour it around us even a small bit, but you can't really do anything like that at the moment. So what I'm trying to... I've had a good bit of radio play on a couple of the singles that I've had out from it so far. So I'm just hoping to try and see if I can push it a little bit more stateside, really, and get some airplay over there, hopefully, and sort of do a little bit of post and packing now and sending it out to a few places in America is my big thing. I think I'd like to try and push it over there, because it's
see how it goes.
Well, yeah, it's got that connection and things, so I've made a video. I spent the last month of lockdown here making a little promo video for it, so that will be going up on YouTube this Friday as well with the release, and just let it bubble then, really let it roll away and just get writing again, really. I need to back that up with a second album, I think, somehow, so get moving.
That would be cool. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
download the digitals.
Beg your pardon?
I was just telling everyone to make sure they go check out the digitals. And
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it'll be up on Spotify on Friday the 19th, which is this Friday, isn't it? I think this Friday. Yep. And probably YouTube, because I think they do that now. They link in with Spotify, and everything seems to get thrown up onto YouTube anyway. So, yeah, and that's it. Just I think the big thing is to try and see if I can get traffic to Spotify and people to listen to, and it seems to be the way the world is the way things are going, isn't it? Really,
it's all digital now, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah,
we all need to be tech wizards.
We do. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, but it's been a long old road, to be honest. I won't lie. It's taken a few years to complete. I funded it all myself, so it just takes it out of you. Just making
not an easy process, no.
Yeah, it takes it out of you. Yeah, never mind just the creative, but then you're trying to piece it together like a jigsaw. The album itself,
Yeah.
It's kind of I'd be looking forward to a bit of a rest in the summer and a play at the beach.
Feet up and just relax for a little bit.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great fun talking to you and finding out more about you and your music and everything else. So fantastic.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me. It's really great. Thanks a million for setting it up and letting me talk on your show, and continued success I wish to both of you. And yeah, it's great what you're doing. Hope you get many more people to the interview.
Yep, we'll keep going.
Absolutely. Hope we can all get through COVID and come out the other end.
Come out stronger.
Come out stronger is right, yeah.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.